It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting and fun team. No supports. None at all. No healers, no supports. The only thing that's healing us is two treasures up top, and that's the monocle and the insignia. Now, my first and biggest recommendation is to run this team. It's highly suggested you have all level 70 cookies. And it's also highly suggested you have either level 11 or maxed out level treasures of Monocle Insignia. The biggest reason is the healing factor from both the Insignia when a cookie dies and the healing factor for the team when the Monocle dies. If you do not have that, it will be a little bit hard to run this team. Mostly just because there is no way to heal them otherwise. So, here's the fun part. Let's talk about the toppings. We have almonds on all but dark cacao. So we've got super beefy, super chunky T-Knight, very nice damage resistance wildberry setup. Mostly damage resistance, but also critical resistance setup for Mala. A damage resistance with a attack focus and a crit focus on Crunchy Chip. And then we've got our traditional high damage resistance substats critical toppings that we have on dark cacao. So the main idea with this team is that we've got buffs that are being applied to Crunchy Chip, making him stronger. We've got damage from multiple sources. We've got reflection. We've got last standing from T-Knight. We've got shield removal from Dark Cacao. We've got persistent time damage that comes from Mala to get around things like Hollyberry. And so we've got so much going on here, and it's truly a 5-front team. But it's a fun one. It's a really fun one. So let's just take it into random battles and show you what's happening and what's going on. So as you can see, they've got a traditionally old meta, which is Hollyberry, Strawberry Crepe, Pure Vanilla, Cotton, and Sea Fairy. That was a team that was pretty meta a while ago. As you can see, our Monocle just healed our entire team there. So far, handling okay. The one that's taking the most amount of damage is Crunchy Chip because less health and less defense initially than the other cookies, and so that is going to make a difference of why Crunchy Chip is taking some of the most damage. But as you can see, we're handling just fine. We're pushing through the team. We're not really running into too much issue. We do lose Crunchy Chip, but that activates more power for T-Knight, so it just pushes forward without any problem. And if we go into the stats at the end, we can see that Dark Cacao was our main damage dealer, mostly because of the critical toppings, but Crunchy Chip was not far behind. So we're going to go ahead and fight a brand new user. We're just picking random people each time, as long as they have decent enough treasures. So here's a T-Knight team with a support, with a healer, and with a skill freezer. So this should be an interesting battle because technically their synergy is much better than what ours should be. But let's see the differences here. So as you can see, we're getting a lot of hits. We're getting that lava bursts from Mala Cookie, getting crit bonuses from Mala to our entire team, which is helping with extra damage push out. We're getting damage resistance from Wildberry, buff stacks from T-Knight onto our cookies. We've lost Dark Cacao and Wildberry so far, but overall we are still persisting through. Just T-Knight, Eclair, and Cotton left on their side, with Mala and T-Knight left on ours. Because we had a 5 front, we took out their front line, which was their T-Knight, so we don't have to worry about that in a final stand. And Cotton is the last one to get the insignia on their side, and Cotton will not deal enough damage to get us to our insignia, so we're safe. And I'm sure that the Monocle helped quite a lot in that situation. And we can see here, our T-Knight did 7.3 million damage, just because the match went on so long, and their Cotton did 4 million damage. But they ended up having almost 3 million of healing, where of course our team has none because we have no healing. But we did receive a decent amount of healing just because of our treasures, which actually outpaced most of what their healing did. So you can see where the treasures are really doing the majority of the work here. And that's why I thought it was kind of a fun team. So let's test out something else. Here's a Caramel Arrow build. So this is kind of a speed critical build. So let's see what their team can put up against us. And as you can see to start, good heavy damage from them, but we're knocking that health bar out pretty heavily. So they did not have enough defensive pressure to take all those heavy frontline hits. And you can see here, Dark Cacao, Crunchy Chip just absolutely demolished through their team without even a second chance. Let's go ahead and move on to the next user. Same thing. We'll try it against... This is a good meta team. So this is a double tank speed team. Their treasures are a little bit lower, but that's okay. They still have level 70, so that means it is a good, fair competition. And let's see how we fare against this. So, yet again, damage resistance from Wildberry, Reflection, buffs from T-Knight, Crunchy Chip sending the wolves out, getting those extra buffs from all the other cookies, Monocle activating, healing our cookies up, Mala persistently putting that damage flame down that's dealing in their front line, Dark Cacao removing any shields they have. We lose Crunchy Chip to start, but that he activates our insignia. We lose Mala and Wildberry, so now we're down to T-Knight and Dark Cacao. So this is the point where our T-Knight should be shining the most here. And it depends on who dies first. So it looks like T-Knight died first. So that means that Dark Cacao has to be the one to finish us off. We do get a Monocle activation at the last second before Dark Cacao was able to actually take a fight there. But Dark Cacao was the most amount of damage in that situation. So we were close, but we did not beat the meta team, as you can see. So I definitely don't recommend this as a PvP like push team, but it's an interesting defense team, and it's an interesting team to just fight friends with and kind of experiment with. Maybe you can change up toppings, maybe you can get some different treasures. As you can see, here's a scam team. Because of T-Knight and Insignia and having 5 really chunky bodies, there should be no reason that we lose this. Even with them at level 70s with high level treasures, still unable to push through 5 pretty much tanks. They are able to take Crunchy because yet again Crunchy has the least amount of health and defense of them all. And even if they have their Insignia activate for a Caramel Arrow, which it does, we still have way too much defensive tank pressure to persist right through. So what's your thoughts on the team? Is this something that you might run? Maybe if you get everyone to level 70, maybe if you got perfected toppings to set them up, would you run it? Would it be something that you would be interested in running? How would you run it differently? Would you just not do a quad, or would you do a quad 4 with a healer instead? Would you set it up with more supports? Obviously, supports are a huge thing that we all use in this game, but I wanted to try a team that had 0 supports. I wanted to see if it could manage against some other teams in the arena. And as you can see, it does. It does actually manage quite well against some of these other teams. So, it's not a perfect team. It's not a hard counter to a lot of them, but it is something interesting to experiment with. And of course, as I level up cookies and get some other ones changed upward, and more toppings, we'll see if we can make some even funkier and even crazier teams. But I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. Either way, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a wonderful night.